There is a letter hiding underneath another letter on this coin. It has been hiding there for more than 75 years. Somebody inside the United States Mint made a mistake, realized it, and tried to cover it up by stamping a second letter on top of the first, but metal remembers. The old letter never fully disappeared. It is still down there, poking out from underneath, if you know exactly where to look. Millions of people have held this coin. Almost none of them ever noticed, and the few who did notice walked away with more money than a brand new car. Now here's the part that should make you sit up. This is not some treasure locked in a vault. There are roughly 120,000 of these coins. They were spent like ordinary money, and nobody knows where most of them ended up. So let me show you exactly what you are looking for. The coin is a Jefferson nickel, struck in 1949 at the Denver Mint, 5 cents. 3/4 copper, 1/4 nickel. No silver, no gold. Nothing precious in it at all. 36 million of them came off the presses that year. So if you dig one out of a jar tonight, it's almost certainly worth about 40 cents. Almost certainly. Hold on to that word because it is doing a lot of work. The nickel itself goes back to 1938, when a German-born sculptor named Felix Schlag won a public design contest. He put Thomas Jefferson on the front and Jefferson's own house, Monticello, on the back. Now flip a 1949 nickel over and look along the right edge of that building, right where the rim begins. That tiny letter is the mint mar, and it tells you which city struck your coin. A D means Denver, and on a small number of these coins, that D is sitting on top of a secret. To understand how, you have to know one strange fact about the way America made its money back then. Denver did not make its own dies. Neither did San Francisco. Every working die, for every mint in the country, was produced inside one building. Philadelphia. In that building, the engravers kept the mint mark punches together in one place. A little steel punch shaped like a D, another shaped like an S. They sat side by side on the bench. A worker picked one up and drove it into a die by hand with a hammer. In 1949, somebody picked up the wrong one. An S went into a die that was never meant to carry an S. Maybe he caught it himself. Maybe a supervisor spotted it. Either way, the fix looked simple enough. Grab the right punch, line it up, and drive a D straight down on top of the S. But here's the thing about steel. You can bury a letter. You cannot erase it. Under the right light, under a magnifier, the ghost of that S is still sitting there. The top of the S peeks out above the D. The upper curve of the S leans out to the left of it. Every coin that die ever struck carries the fingerprint of one human mistake, made 75 years ago, in a room where no computer was watching. So why did a die with a botched mint mark travel hundreds of miles to Denver? Nobody wrote it down. But collectors have a solid guess. San Francisco was only striking around 9.5 million nickels that year. Denver was pumping out 4 times that number, and demand across the middle of the country ran higher than anyone had planned for. When the presses are hungry and you're short on dies, you do not throw away a good piece of steel over a cosmetic flaw. You ship it out, and you keep the coins coming. Nobody in that building imagined the decision would one day be worth a fortune. So let us put real numbers on this. A plain 1949 D nickel, worn down by decades in pockets and cash drawers, is worth around 40 cents. Nice, but it does not change your week. Now take that exact same coin and find the hidden S underneath the D, even beaten up, even scratched. That coin jumps to about $35. In uncirculated shape, it clears $150 without breaking a sweat. And at the very top, in 2014, 1949, D-nickel carrying that hidden S, graded about as close to perfect as a coin can get, crossed the auction block for $32,900. $32,900 for a nickel, the same nickel that millions of Americans dropped into a vending machine without ever glancing at the back. And now, I want something from you, because what I am about to say has been argued over for decades, and nobody has ever settled it. Nobody knows who punched that S. Nobody knows why. The mint kept no record of it. Some collectors are certain it was a simple slip, a tired man reaching for the wrong punch at the end of a long shift. Others are convinced somebody knew exactly what he was doing, that a worker created that variety on purpose, knowing he could pull a few off the presses and sell them to collectors years later. And before you laugh that off, men inside the very mint have done precisely that with other coins. So tell me, accident or on purpose? Type accident or on purpose in the comments right now. One word. I read every single reply, and I have my own theory about what really happened in that room. But I am not saying a word until I see what you think first. Go ahead, prove me wrong. Now, there is a second way. A 1949 D nickel can be worth serious money, and most people walk right past it. Turn the coin over and look at Monticello. Look at the stairs beneath the front door. On almost every nickel ever made, those steps are a mushy blur, because nickel is a hard, stubborn metal, and the mint ran its dies until they were worn out. But once in a long while, a coin comes off the press, struck so sharply that you can count every step, clean and separated, with no nicks or gaps cutting through them. Collectors call that full steps. And the 1949 D nickel, with full sharp steps and a flawless surface, sold for $8,625. Steps, that is the whole difference. Steps on a tiny building, on the back of a 5-cent coin. So here is exactly how to check yours. First, the date. You want 1949. Second, flip it over and find the mint mark, just to the right of Monticello, close to the rim. You want a D sitting there. Third, get a magnifier. 10 power if you own one, or your phone camera zoomed all the way in if you do not. Study that D. If a thin serif is peeking out above the top of it, and a curved sliver of metal bulges out along its left side, you are staring at the ghost of an S. That is the coin. Fourth, while you are on that side, count the steps beneath Monticello. If they run clean and unbroken all the way across, set that coin aside immediately. Fifth, and this one really matters, stay careful, because this variety is valuable. Fakers add letters to ordinary nickels. On a genuine one, the curves of the S rise naturally out from under the D, like one stamp pressed over another. On a fake, you see scratches, tooling marks, and a letter that looks glued on. If you have any doubt at all, send it to PCGS or NGC, and never, ever clean it. One rub with a cloth turns a $30,000 coin into a 5-cent coin. So think about tonight. Is there a coin jar sitting in your kitchen? A cigar box of your father's? Change out in the garage? A roll of nickels somebody tucked away in 1949 and forgot about? Nickels do not get spent the way quarters do. They sit, they pile up, they wait. If you find a 1949 D, take a clear photo of the back, zoomed in tight on that mint mark, and drop it in the comments. I will look at it myself, and it costs you nothing. And if this got your heart moving, subscribe and stay close. Because I am going to keep showing you the mistakes hiding in plain sight. Somewhere out there tonight, more than 100,000 of these coins are still sitting in jars, drawers, and coffee cans. Nobody is looking for them. Except, starting right now, you.